and I'll do another public service announcement real quick for those of you that haven't heard it yet. We're just asking that everybody keeps their microphone muted, just cuts down the background noise. If you do have a question, there are a couple people that are monitoring the chat for me, so feel free to type a question into the chat, just a brief synopsis of the question, and then if you need to chime in, just unmute yourself, talk, and then we can go ahead and go that route. We encourage you, if you have any questions, please ask them. We want to try and get as many questions answered as we can here in this meeting, so that way we're not trying to get that same information out to other people. So please do ask a question if you do have a question. We'll go ahead and get started here as I'm showing right about 7 o'clock right now. So Will, doesn't look like there's anybody left in the waiting room, so we'll go ahead and get rolling. You should all be able to see a screen that just says welcome to the 2021 Sioux Council Popcorn Kickoff. My name is Brent Porter. I am the Red Rock District Popcorn Chair. Help me out watching that chat is going to be Will Kennedy. He is the Missouri Valley District Director, as well as Angie Litterbrand, and she is the Arrowhead Senior District Executive. Please type in the chat if you got any questions. They'll be watching it, so that way I can focus on the presentation, and they'll chime in as they see fit. They understand the presentation, so if it's something that's coming up, they might not answer your question right away, but we will get to it before everything's done. And then we'll field some questions at the very end if your question slipped through the cracks somewhere in there. So we'll go ahead and get started. I do have a couple of pieces of information on there for some extra resources. If you haven't recorded that yet, don't feel the need to do it right now. I do have it on the last slide as well, so that way you can go ahead and copy it at the tail end of everything. So we'll go ahead and get started. As I mentioned before, my name is Brent Porter. I'm the Red Rock District Popcorn Chair. This is my second year doing it, and I'm with PAC and Troop 57 in Baltic, South Dakota, which those of you that don't know where that's at, it's about 10-15 miles north of Sioux Falls. So I'm in the southeast corner of South Dakota, and I know we've got some from all around the East River area and into Minnesota. So I appreciate you guys all chiming in and taking some time out of our busy schedules. We'll try and make this quick and easy. Those of you that were popcorn chairs, popcorn kernels last year, it's going to be a lot of the same stuff. But it's good information to go back to. So Popcorn 2021 is a new beginning. We say again because, well, last year didn't go according to plan for everybody. We did have a new vendor, and we did succeed with that new vendor. But with all the COVID restrictions and everything, it didn't go 100% according to plan. We did do a fantastic job with what we had. So I don't want to downplay that at all. We did an awesome job. The per scout average was way up there, and we'll go through some of those things here in a little bit. As I mentioned, Pecatonica River is once again our vendor. We're excited to have them back this year. Over the last year plus that we've been talking to them, that I've actually spoken with them a couple of times. Their customer service is absolutely second to none. Every time we ask for something, they're more than willing to help us out with it. We'll chime in a couple of those things here in a little bit. But for those of you that were on last year, very little has actually changed as far as our popcorn, what we're carrying. And those of you that have tried the Pecatonica River popcorn, I hope you agree with me in saying that the taste is outpaces our competition by far. With that said, the flavors that we have this year are going to be the same for the most part as last year. A couple of minor changes. We sell the military donation, so chocolate lovers, cheese lovers. Chocolate lovers is the 5 flavors, cheese lovers is the 4 flavors, and then you have the trio. We get into our first change when we get to the chocolate pretzels. We still are offering the chocolate pretzels. We're just not offering the white chocolate pretzels. We're offering milk chocolate pretzels. This was a favor that they asked of us. They inquired about it, and we said, yeah, we can do this. We were the only ones that actually did the white chocolate pretzels of all of their councils. We were the only ones that did white chocolate pretzels on its own. So they just requested that we switch over to milk chocolate. That way they didn't have to change their production line over. You can still get the white chocolate pretzels. It comes in the chocolate lovers tin. So if you have a customer that is set on getting the white chocolate pretzels, you'll have to upsell them on the chocolate lovers tin. Other than that, the peanut butter cup, same as last year. Sea salt splash, we had that last year. Kettle corn microwave, butter microwave, same as last year. The second change we have from last year is last year we had a product called Maple Pecan. The feedback we got last year was that Maple Pecan probably wasn't the best name for that product. So we took that to Pecatonica, and they actually said, well, what do you recommend? And we said, how about like a deluxe caramel with pecans or something along those lines? And they said, okay, sounds good. And so they did. So they actually changed the name of it to deluxe caramel with pecans in an effort to help with possibly sales. We had a lot of people that said, maple, not a huge fan of that, so let's not do that. And then they would go past it. So we're going to give this name a shot this year. We'll see how it goes. We'll keep track of things, and we'll go from there. And then we also have the classic caramel corn, and we have the yellow popping corn, same as last year. So this sheet here is basically a sheet that came in the bag that everybody should have gotten by this point from their somebody on their professional staff. Had a bunch of goodies in it. We'll go through a couple of those other items here in a minute. But this sheet, you should have a stack of these sheets in there actually. On the back side of this sheet is, actually I do want to go back to one thing. If you notice the gourmet options on this sheet, there you got that light blue shade around them. That's something that, again, Pecatonica, we brought to them and they said, yeah, that sounds good. So they went ahead and edited this sheet for us to make that gourmet option stick out a little bit more. So it's something, again, we requested them, where their customer service sticks out to us is that they're always willing to help us out with anything that we have requested of them. So you'll see that kind of sticks out a little bit more, so that way we can bring our attention to those items. The back side of that sheet is something similar to what we've all seen before. It's going to be just your product. It's going to be your product layout of everything. So if you want, you can fill this out by hand. You can have your scouts take these out with them, fill this out by hand. This is not going to be what you're going to utilize for the most part with your overall sales. We got a different document that you can use for that. This is more for your scouts to take with them. Will, I see there's a couple items in the chat. Is there anything that we need to touch base on right now?
Oh, we're just kind of chatting amongst ourselves.
Okay, sounds good. I saw my little bubble said a few of them in there. I didn't want to skip by anything. So, and I saw you were muted. I didn't know if you knew you were muted. So we'll just keep going. All right. So let's. This sheet is also another item that was found in your bag. You should have had a folded sheet. That folded sheet has a couple of pieces of, like, a couple inserts in it. This is one of those. Advertising a couple of the bonuses that we have this year. Very similar to previous years. The first bonus that you see kind of right there in the middle, kind of brings your attention, is the $850 prize bonus. Scouts that sell over $850 will receive a bonus $15 gift card from Amazon. From the council for Amazon, for purchase of something on Amazon. That is a bonus on top of the prize that they select, so they can still select prize. They just get this $15 bonus on top of that. Also, another bonus that they have is if they sell the $1,500 or $1,750 mark, they get a bonus $50 Amazon gift card. That is on top of the $15 for selling $850, and that's on top of the prize that they select. If they end up selling over the $2,500 sales mark, they will have their name entered for a chance to win a trip to Disney World. I believe it's a trip for 4. You can see the details there. I'm not going to go through them all here. $2,500 sales get you your name entered to win a trip to Disney World in Orlando. Every $250 over that, you get your name added to that again. So $1,750 in sales will get your name entered twice, and so on. And keep in mind that this is in addition to the prizes that you will have your scouts select. So have them select their prize. This is on top of that. This will automatically be pulled from the council, so you don't have to worry about necessarily ordering it when it comes to it. It's nice if you put that on your sheet when you go through the order form. You'll see that here in a minute, that you need that $15 bonus card, or you need the $50 bonus card and all that stuff, but it is automatically ordered from the council. You can see there that we do offer the $400 Amazon gift card for the top seller on the council. Second seller will get $300 Amazon gift card. Each district top seller will get $150. if you are the top seller in the council or the second seller in the council, you will not be entered for your district because we don't want the same person kind of sweeping all those items. So those are the bonuses. We talked about those bonuses being on top of the prize selection. So prize selection is going to look similar to this. The last couple of years, we've kind of gone back and forth between Amazon gift cards and prizes. Last year, we went back to the prizes. There were a handful of scouts that did select prizes, which is great. The large majority of them just select the Amazon gift card, which is fine. With everything and how they had a little bit of a difficult time getting some of those prizes last year, they decided to go back to the Amazon gift cards for this year. And I'm guessing that at the end of the year, we'll probably review this again leading into next year. But this year is going to be the Amazon gift cards again. As with previous times we've done this, we did want to offer them something that so they can physically see something that they can get with that Amazon gift card. When you select these prizes, you're not going to be selecting the scooter or the backpack or the multi-tool or the drone. You're going to be selecting the gift card for it. These are just ideas on what the scouts can utilize those gift cards for in the future.
Brent, just to touch on that, the prizes last year were ordered through the National Scout Store. We only, out of all the incentives we had, the Sioux Council wrote a check for $4,300 for those prizes, which shows us the vast majority wanted Amazon cards anyway. And roughly right around, I believe, 50%, Linda's on the call, she could correct me, but shipping was killing us on that to the point of about 40 or 50%. And we need to be good stewards of the scouts' money. It's not our money. We're just stewards of it to get you guys what you need. So with that, when National Supply no longer offered the prize program this year, we didn't look elsewhere just because from a financial viewpoint, it was not giving the scouts who are our end customers the bang for their buck. That's just some background on it because we do have a few people that like the physical prizes. We wanted to make sure everybody knew that we don't just make willy-nilly decisions. We're doing the best we can for you.
Mm-hmm. So, like we said, we're going back to the Amazon gift cards again this year. So, we'll go ahead and move on to the next item that was in your bag. So, you also had a copy of the inter-unit transfer form. I just wanted to briefly touch on this inter-unit transfer form. A couple of main things we wanted to point out is there's a spot on the bottom for 2 signatures. That is because we need to have 2 signatures. There's going to be one unit that's going to be the transferring unit, and they're going to have another unit that's a receiving unit. One thing I want to make sure is that a copy of this goes with both units, so that way they have record for their information, and make sure that both popcorn kernels sign both sheets, so that way they can be sent in to Linda so she can get everything transferred among the units. Note that in that bold, the very towards the top, it says submit by October 20th of 2021. Please keep that date in mind. We want to make sure that we get all that information in to Linda so that way she can have time to transfer everything before the end of the sailing season comes around, and then she has to switch her focus to something else. So October 20th is the last day for inter-unit transfers, and make sure that we have 2 signatures on these. Recommend that we get each of the units their own copy of it for their own records. With that, make sure that when you submit these back to Linda at the sue.popcorn@scouting.org email, when you submit these back to her, that only 1 unit actually submit this. Make sure that it's not 2. Don't the selling and receiving, or the transferring and receiving unit, not both, because we don't want to have it doubled up. She's usually pretty good at catching those items, but someone might slip through the cracks and might cause some numbers to be off. I highly encourage units to ask around, send emails, ask your popcorn chair for your district, anybody that might have some extra stuff. I know last year I started acquiring some information from my colonels in my district that said, hey, I've got an overabundance of this. If anybody needs it, let me know. I'm willing to trade for something. Keep in mind, these transfers do not count against the total product that you can return to the council. So Transfers are a good resource to use. Feel free to use them. I recommend you make copies of this form so that way you have plenty of copies to go around for the rest of the selling season, and you don't burn your only copy that's in the bag. So if you have any questions on that, feel free to chime into the chat and we'll answer them as we go. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and just kind of keep moving. Prize summary sheets. This is very similar to the previous years. This is a hard copy of it here. There's a hard copy in your bag that you got from the council. I want to make sure that everybody understands that this is a hard copy that comes with it, but there is a electronic version of this document, and it will be put on the siouxcouncil.org/popcorn website. That's going to be the website that we put a lot of this information on. We'll usually put anything for trainings coming up will be on there for your registration for those trainings. If you have some electronic documents like this one here, the electronic document for your transfer form will be on there. We'll post those as we get a little bit closer to the selling season. Those are getting kind of finalized as we go through these coming weeks. And as we get them, we'll go ahead and start posting them up there on that homepage for the popcorn at siouxcouncil.org/popcorn. The electronic version of this document automatically calculates these items for you, so I highly recommend you download it and put it on your computer and utilize it. I utilized it last year. It works great for keeping track of all this stuff, and then you can just email it right into Linda at the office when the time comes. So make sure that you go to the siouxcouncil.org/popcorn website for the latest and greatest on some of these documents. One thing I do want to point out while we're on this slide is if you have a scout that sells, we'll say $1,900 in popcorn, be sure that you utilize all of their selling, all those selling dollars. We can't use the $2,000 because they didn't sell a $2,000 mark. They only got $1,900, but we can do the $1,500, $70 Amazon gift card. Plus, we can also do the $350 level 2, $10 Amazon gift card combined. And those two gift cards combined will get them to $80 in Amazon gift cards. And then when you add in your $15 bonus for reaching the $850 mark and the $50 bonus for reaching the $1,750 mark, that means these scouts are going to be going away with about $145 in gift cards to Amazon. We had a lot of questions on this last year, and quite honestly, I think that the reason why we had so many questions is because some of the colonels were noticing the numbers that these scouts were taking home for Amazon gift cards, and it was kind of staggering in some cases where scouts were taking home $150 to $200 with Amazon gift cards to get camping equipment or whatever they wanted on Amazon, and it's pretty impressive to see some of the numbers that some of these scouts will really push for. So it is the case where you do get your selection of gift cards, fill up all the dollars that you sell or the scout sells, make sure that they select as many as they can. We don't want to shortchange anybody, but also the $850 bonus and the $1,750 bonus, all of those come all in together when it comes to these. So,
Brett, I did just want to mention real quick.
Yep.
The first session of this we had, a lot of the people could not find their flash drives, and they are in the front pouch of that bag that we sent you. If you can't find yours.
I'm gonna go through that bag here in just a minute with kind of all the stuff that they should be finding in there, and I'll kind of show them a couple other things that I find very useful in there too. So,
and Katie Fouts did just want to let the group know. Well, she mentioned it to me. I don't know if she meant to go to the whole group, but I would back her up. She says she highly recommends the electronic version of forms because they do the math for you, which makes sense to me.
Yep, 100%. So that is the prize sheet of the unit master record form. The other portion of that unit record form, the unit master record form, is the actual sales portion. So when you fill out first and last names, again, the electronic version automatically sends these to the second tab and things like that. They automatically calculate the sales. You can enter the online sales, you can enter the table sales for each scout, and then you can have a grand total. And then that actually calculates over to this next page, which then gets you to your prize selection, things like that. So again, Katie mentioned that Yes, to use the electronic version. If you have that available to you, I highly recommend using that. Real quick, I'm gonna stop sharing the screen real quick because I do want to go through that bag like he had mentioned. You can also receive a bag that's going to look similar to this. And the little pocket that he was talking about is this little pocket right here. This pocket has in it a flash drive that gets you the electronic versions. Keep in mind that we cannot update the stuff that's on this flash drive, so make sure that if there's updates to it, that you go out and get those updates. But this is a good resource to use if you're the type that likes flash drives. Also, we have these pocket cards. These pocket cards are fantastic for keeping track of dates and things like that. We put these in, put them in your wallet, and if you're at a meeting and somebody asks you, what date do I need to have all my such and such turned in? You can reach in your pocket and grab the card out and use it. I also tend to snap a picture of that card, keep it in my phone. I keep it on in my favorites pictures on my phone, so that way I have very easy access to it. And I can open that up on a moment's notice and do the same thing. So also in this bag, we talked about this sheet here with the order form and the popcorn, different types of popcorn we offer. There is a larger version of the same thing. You have your prize order sheet in there as a little payout of the bonus stuff, that bonus sheet. On the back of the bonus sheet is the missed house tracking sheet. So if you want to use that, you can feel free to utilize that. If you miss a house, you can get back to it. Also in there is a copy of the transfer form. You have the paper version of your unit master. If you have questions on some of the stuff brought up in this presentation, we have a packet that goes through a bunch of that stuff, as well as a Scout Boss guide. This gives you some information on the Pecatonica website. You have some information on the square readers. We'll get to that here in a second, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that one right now. You have some door hangers that you should have got in there. You have a prize, this one happens to be a bow and arrow. I'm guessing everything around the council is the same. This is designed to be an item that is utilized as a prize document, or not a document, but a prize for when you go to your kickoffs and stuff. So utilize that, advertise that as, hey, come to the kickoff, we're going to give some prizes away, we're going to have different things. I highly recommend that your units come up with some prizes too, whether it be actual hands-on prizes like this, or if it's something like, if you reach a certain dollar amount, you can throw a pie in the face of the Cub Master, or whatever the case is, or the popcorn kernel, whatever. Things like that. Kids love that. They really jump in on that thing, on those types of things. So I recommend doing stuff like that within your own units. You have a stack of envelopes that you can have your scouts use to collect the money. And you also have a large envelope that you can utilize yourself to collect all the smaller envelopes from your scouts. So that's the stuff that you should have got in your bag that you received from the council. If you have not gotten that bag yet, please reach out to your district executive or your popcorn chair and make sure you get that information. That should have gotten to you the same time you got the membership information. If I showed you something that you do not have in your bag, please let us know as well. We'll make sure we get that information to you. So just want to kind of give you a quick tour of that bag, so that way you guys all know what we're referencing on some of these items. Will, was there anything that I missed in that bag that you know of that should have been in there that maybe wasn't in my bags that I got?
Only thing I can think off the top of my head, and Angie, you can chime in too, is they did send us some really nice vinyl banners this year. I'm kind of excited about those. If you didn't get one, let us know. Like I said, they look really good. They're reusable. What I like about them is they're white on the back, so if you need to write, something on the back of it in marker, a little script for your scouts, or run an inventory on there, as long as your marker doesn't bleed through, you sure can do it.
You forgot the most important thing, the samples of the popcorn.
That's very true. Yeah. Yep. They did send samples again this year, which I'm thoroughly impressed that they send samples on their popcorn still. Last year, it was fantastic to have those samples. And then when they came back again this year and they sent them out again, but I agree, that's one of the more important items. Share them with the families, kind of get them to hype up what the popcorn tastes like. There's some really good flavors in there.
Just a heads up, if you're a brand new colonel, the sample kits do have a little cheat sheet in there that explains to you what each flavor is. Sometimes it's kind of hard to find the written printed numbers on the bags, but I would say about a third of our scouts last year opened the box upside down. We didn't even realize there was a cheat sheet in there, so we were just trying it. And Linda chimed in. She said, are there extra large, or excuse me, we had a question. Are there extra large order forms available at the office? Also, are table tents available? Yes, there are extra large forms. We've got the templates and things like that. Let your popcorn colonel know if you need them. And then the 8-pager will also be sent out. That's the big fancy one. Linda, were there table tents coming? Help me out here, remember on that. Just so everybody knows, I'm the popcorn advisor, but I don't work right at the office. And God bless Linda and the ladies, they actually put all these packets together. So I'm going to defer to her on that one. But I thought there were some table tents in there, Brent. Did you see them?
We did not get any table tents this year. Those did not come with all the materials we got. And as far as the big 8-pager with the order form and the Disney flyer and the prizes on there, those are being sent to each scout, registered scout, at the end, right before the sale starts. So those that are in your packet, you know, if possible, kind of hold them out for your new recruits that are coming, because your scouts that are already registered will get them in the mail. So that's why it seems like there isn't as many of those in your packet. Right now, I've given out all I have in the packets. Once they do the mailing, we'll get more in, and then I can hand out more then.
Right. By the time people need them, we should have some spares. And I'll tell you what, if we sell so much that we need to print more, we would gladly print more. I will check on the table tents too. They were supposed to come in, Linda and everybody else. I'll get an answer on that right away. The jump drive, Angie answered it for me here. Thanks, Angie. If you don't have a jump drive, talk to your DE. Also, on the Sioux Council page, there's an awful lot of information on there. The vast majority of it is actually on the Sioux Council popcorn page, and we're going to try and keep that updated as we go too.
And that Sioux Council, the popcorn page of the siouxcouncil.org, that is probably going to have the latest and greatest version of all of these. So if you're deciding on which one to go with, if it go to my flash drive, I would probably recommend going to the website, but the flash drive is there if you do need it. So we caught up on questions there, Will?
We are. And if there's anybody else that needs a flash drive, I have some spares I can put together. I know I did find under the seat of my car one flash drive where a bag had tipped over after I delivered, and I have no way to know where it goes. So if you can't find it, reach out. We're here for you. We'll be glad to help.
For those of you that come to the scout office to pick up the warehouse, usually we have some extras of those order forms when you come to pick up your popcorn and stuff too. So if we have extras, we'll have some there. I'm guessing that's the same thing for other people that go to other locations. Maybe we can try and send a couple of a small stack of extra flyers for the ones that need it, or maybe we ran a little short when they were passing things out. So something to keep in mind, Will and Linda, for as we get closer to that time. All right, we'll go ahead and keep going with the presentation here. I got a few more slides to go through yet. So one thing we did want to touch base on is in 2020, Trails End did threaten to quit their 6% scholarship program. We had already decided to sign on with Pecatonica River, and their owner, Nick Solomon, actually stepped up and said, you know what, we'll grandfather in the current scholarship program. So last year, year 2020, he did participate in 7%. It was sent out in a separate payment for all the grandfathered in scouts that were already entered in the program. We all know that 2020 was a difficult year. Sioux Council, like I said before, had a fantastic year in sales. Not all councils did, so we appreciate that. For all of you that were participated and were colonels last year, thank you for that. We did a fantastic job last year. But the popcorn companies did have to rethink their strategies a little bit this year. So Nick Solomon with Pecatonica River and Sioux Council Scout Executive did step up, and they found a way to soften the blow a little bit this year for 2021 Scouters that have previously been in the scholarship program. So what they decided to do for 2021 only, the Sioux Council is going to fund 2% of the sales to the grandfathered scholarship program scouts that have continuously sold. Pecatonica River is going to match that, do the same thing, 2% of the sales. Again, having grandfathered in for ones already participating and have continuously sold. So that is going to add up to approximately 4%. For those of you that have scouts, or maybe your scout is in that scholarship program already or has been for the past several years, those will be sent out same as last year as a direct payment to those scout families. For their responsibility will be to put them into some sort of like a scholarship type of fund for their respective scouts. So make sure that when we're filling these things out and we're getting this information from the scouts, that we get accurate information, because those will be sent out to those to that information, and that prevents us from having to go back and find where a lot of these need to go. So that is one change from last year for the scholarship program. Again, things were tough for everybody last year, but I think it's very generous that Pecatonica River is trying to keep this going as long as they can, and Sioux Council offered to help out too, to kind of soften that blow a little bit. So we appreciate that from Pecatonica River and Sioux Council for stepping in and at least doing the 4% this year.
Before we move on, does anybody have any questions on that? Because it is a big deal, and we'd rather answer the questions up front than have uncertainty out there. Not seeing anything, Brent, but I also lost my chat box. If something pops in.
I did see that somebody asked about no new scouts eligible. That is correct. No new scouts will be eligible for this scholarship. It's only the grandfathered in scouts that have continuously sold from the previous years.
Correct. And if you have questions about the Old Trails End program, that'll take us down a different road. But visit with your DE about that, and we'll get you the information you need either way.
Trisha asked about grandfathered ones. They have to sell a certain amount. No, the only ones that had to sell a certain amount was when they originally were getting entered into the program. Now all sales go towards that. Whether they sell 2,500 or 200 or 500, doesn't matter. It all goes to that number. And I did see somebody mention that they did get it last year. It was a delay. It was a couple months later that they ended up getting it, but they did get it as a separate check. So as some of you have probably been kind of reading through this slide, we'll talk about commissions while we're talking about percentages and stuff like that. Everybody's base commission is 23%. Whether they participate in any training that we have tied to commissions or not, everybody's going to receive 23% of their total popcorn sales will be sent to their unit. You can earn bonus commission. Bonus commission, the first 2% was by attending the April program planning budget seminar. That was back in April, obviously. That's already kind of come and gone. So if you did not attend that one, or somebody from your unit did not attend that one, that's kind of a missed 2%. But keep that in mind for next year. That's a pretty consistent percentage that we have, that April program planning. So make sure you mark that on your calendars for next year so you can take advantage of that next year. The next 3% is going to be attending this training here. So everybody that's on this training tonight, as well as was on the last training on the 2nd of this month, we were one step closer to this 3% bonus commission. You need to make sure that you have somebody attend a membership training as well. There was one done last night, and there's one coming up here in the next week, I believe. Will, if you can snag the date on that one, we'll plug that one for them, so that way you can get signed up for that. I don't have it here in front of me. the last piece of that 3% is going to be twofold. It's going to be an approved calendar and a budget for the for your unit for the year. So send in a budget with an approved calendar, attend this seminar here, and attend the membership training seminar as well, and that'll round out that 3%. That'll get you a bonus 3%. The last 2% is based on sales for your unit, more specifically per scout average of your unit. Last year we had kind of a standardized number that we went with, and we kind of reconfigured it this year. Wanted to make sure it was attainable for everybody and not something that was completely out of reach for some and very easily attainable for others. So we kind of settled somewhere in the middle, we hope, and hopefully that'll also make it very, I don't want to say easy for everybody to get it, but in a way, that's what we're hoping for, is it'll make it a very achievable goal for everybody. For the Scouts BSA, so your troops are going to have a per scout sale average of $550, and the packs a per scout sale average of $850. We're going to base this average total based on your April 30th membership. So April 30th, your membership numbers from the April 30th time frame, we're going to put that and we'll calculate off of there. So if you had 10 scouts registered on April 30th, then if you're a troop, then you have $5,500 to get for your goal. If you're a pack, you have $8,500 for your goal. We set it up as April 30th, so that way we could utilize some of the recruitment that's coming up. We didn't want to punish anybody for recruitment coming up. We didn't want to punish packs for recruitment, stuff like that. So we decided on the April 30th timeframe, and I think that's very fair to the scout troops as well as the scout packs altogether. So I hope this kind of works for everybody. But that's our bonus structure: 23% base commission and 2% bonus commission for April program planning, 3% for popcorn training, membership training, a approved calendar and a budget, and then the final 2% is based on your average sales. Will, do you have the date of that membership training coming up?
It's the 12th of August.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So you're in a couple of days.
I'm going to put a link in the box too.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I want to take a moment to just make sure that there's no questions on this, the commissions and stuff for this year.
We have some questions on how do we find out the membership, and let me scroll back up here, jump down on me. How do we find out the April 30 membership? We just ran that. Thank you, Linda, for doing that. And that is going to go out via your DE very shortly. It'll basically be the number of youth on your recharter, unless you've picked up a few scouts here or there. The good news is when we get to the end of October and the sale closes down and all the smoke settled, if you recruited 10 more scouts, their sales will count, but they won't count as individuals. So it's kind of a neat incentive, and I think it does a little bonus to want to push that recruitment too. And that's something the popcorn committee, Dan and Brent, came to us with, and really a neat idea. We appreciate it, guys. Your DE can let you know if you attended the April meeting. I'm just reading the comments. Angie's already answered them. If you had scouts eagle out since then, Allison, we'll talk. You know, it's going to depend a lot on their age and things like that, if they became officially adults over 18 and all those things. But again, your DEs will be within a couple days sending out how many scouts you had at that date.
And we do understand that this isn't going to be an exact science, that that you're going to have. There's going to be a few outlying scenarios where, like they said, you know, some scouts have eagled out or aged out or whatever the case is. But we're really hoping that with the membership and the recruitment and stuff, that it'll bring scouts in as well, and that'll kind of offset some of that. So we're really hoping that it's going to kind of balance everything out in the long run. But kind of once you see your numbers, if there's a dramatic, I mean, if we're talking like one or two different people, the number difference or whatever. We may have to kind of work with it, but if you have a large number, maybe contact your DE or your popcorn chair for your district, and we'll get you talking to the right people if we need to figure something out. So the hope is not to have to do too many of those one-off scenarios. But if there is an exaggerated circumstance, then maybe we can see what we can do. So no guarantees, but we'll see what we can come up with.
And with these uncertain times, the more we dug into this, the more this looked so much better than just you sold this much last year, so $1 more than that this year. Because this works with your membership number and things like that. Brian with PAC 275, are you going to explain the Pecatonica River unit sign up? You bet. That's coming in a few slides here. I think I got them all. Angie, did I miss anything there?
Nope, you've got them.
It gets crazy when people start typing, then the whole box moves and I don't know where I'm at all of a sudden.
Yeah.
All right, Brad, I think we're back to you.
Okay, we'll keep going. So the next one we're going to talk about, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I do want to kind of explain a couple of things for everybody. So Square Readers, back with our previous vendor, Square Readers was kind of included in the app that they had. With Pecatonica, it's not. There is a website down there at the bottom, squareup.com/i/prpopcorn1, and you can sign up for a free Square Reader. You can see the highlight there that says increase sales, 150%. Yes, it increases sales. If you have the ability to have credit card sales, it dramatically increases your sales for your unit. And I'm not talking by a little bit, I'm talking about a pretty big number. I'll give you an example here in a second. If you are a new user of Square Readers, if you go to that squareup.com/i/prpopcorn1, new users will get that $1,000 in credit card transactions for the first 180 days. You can sign up for that. This slide here kind of explains there are some fees that are included on it. That's how Square gets their income too. So there are some fees that are included in there. But what I wanted to break down for you a little bit is I really encourage everybody to get this. My unit last year, just in credit card sales alone, did about $2,500 for our pack. Overall of those sales, we are talking about I think it was just under $80 in fees. Kind of sounds like a little bit much, but if you break that down for a per sale, and I actually tracked this last year because I was very interested in how these numbers were going to play out, we ended up spending about 77 cents per sale on just a fee. So less than $1 went to Square. The rest of that sale went to us. The largest fee we had to pay was about $4. But that was somebody that purchased $150 in popcorn. If you have just a base commission of 23%, that's $35 in commission that our unit gets. And we have to set aside $4 in that sale. That still means we're bringing into our account over $30 just on that one sale alone. And I guarantee you that person would not have purchased $150 worth of popcorn had we not been able to take a credit card sale. I can safely say that every time that we went out to a sale and our scouts mentioned that we accept credit cards, especially when somebody walked by and said, hey, I don't have any cash on me, and they tried walking away, and a scout said, oh, we take credit card. I can think of at least one time on every single time we did table sales that somebody turned around and came up and ended up purchasing something only because we were able to take credit cards. If you're looking for a way to get more sales in your unit, this is definitely one of those ways. It is not very difficult to do. You have to sign up. They'll send you a free reader. If you go to that PR Popcorn 1, they'll send you the reader and everything. You can purchase more readers if you want. You have to tie it to an account. We actually had an account, and we just made sure that a select few of us were there and were able to swipe for these. So highly recommended. If you have more questions, you can reach out to your to Colonel or whatever, or if you want to reach out to myself, we can try and answer some of those too. But very highly recommended. It does increase your popcorn sales a fairly large number. So I just wanted to kind of throw out some of those numbers so that way you don't think that you're going to end up spending more with fees than you're actually going to have for income for your unit. That's not the case. The fees really don't add up to a whole lot.
Brent, just
Yes.
for some backstory, we had a unit in Yankton that used to sell at Hy-Vee on the weekends. Their kickoff weekend went up $4,500, and that was, I think, 4,200 of it was credit cards.
Yes.
The difference. If you are on the fence, talk to a unit that's done it. It makes all the difference in the world. I know this spring I'd always get away from the Girl Scouts because I don't carry cash anymore. And then here the Girl Scouts have the square readers too, so I bought cookies that I didn't need. But it's a good thing. It really is. We have Angie, did I miss a question somewhere?
Yep, there is a question. How do fees get paid to Square from each scout or the troop from Jordan?
So the way Square works it is they actually, when you run a purchase, so let's say $20, if they buy a $20 item, Square will deposit the $20 less their fee into your account that it's tied to. So that's how they do it. They don't, it's not that you are given the $20 and then you have to pay them back for it. Is they take their percentage out of it when they deposit the amount.
And if the question,
I had a quick question, Brent.
Yeah.
So in that case then, and we're trying to square up with what we owe, then at the end of the time, whatever's been taken out by the Square, it doesn't matter because you're paying the check directly to the council for the popcorn that you took for what you owe them, right?
Yeah, because at the end, you're paying the amount to the council out of your bank account for your unit. So it's automatically being deposited into the way that our unit did it was we deposited directly into our unit's account. So therefore it was already there. So when it came time to pay, there was no transferring money from one to the other or anything like that. It would automatically go into our account and then automatically get paid out of that account to back to the council for the popcorn at the end of the season.
And we have another question. Are we allowed to use Venmo?
Will, what's your thoughts or what's the council's stance on that? The only thing is with Venmo, it's tied to a personal account, correct?
you know what it comes down to is the council likes to get paid for popcorn. I don't know about Venmo. Let me run that up the flagpole.
It's part of me it thinks, okay, it's potentially no different than getting paid via cash. I mean, we're having people hand cash to these scouts, and we're trusting that our units and the scouters on our units are going to in turn pay the unit and in turn pay the council. So I'd be interested to see what the council's take on it. But if you think about it in that aspect, I could see them coming back and saying it's permitted, as long as, I mean, you're accountable for the popcorn you have. So.
And Brent, just to add that Venmo does go to your personal account. It's no different than if someone writes you a check. It's just you're going to be the one writing the check ultimately for all the Venmo that's been purchased or all the purchases through Venmo.
Yep.
So no oversight at all by anybody.
You're in turn going to be responsible for turning that money over to the unit, and then in turn the unit turning that money over to the council. So
I don't see the council getting terribly involved with, it doesn't matter to us if you take cash or check or things like that. It's like any business. We need to pay Pecatonica. In turn, we need to get paid. Just like you send your scouts out with popcorn, so your unit needs to get paid.
Yep.
How do we track what scout has used a credit card reader?
We for the Square, we actually kind of issued them to a specific leader that was going to that sale. We'd say, here's our reader. This is where we're going to use it, and it was a deposit only thing. So they would swipe the reader, and then at the end of the sale, I would either go to that point and get it back from them, or they would drop it off at my house after they were done selling, or whatever the case is. So it's up to it'd be up to the colonel or however they issue that.
I would recommend people keeping an eye on the chat box. Brent is the one on this call that's done a lot of sales, but also it's everybody on this call that has the experience. So keep
Correct.
up in the chat box. There's some best practices there. There's some questions that I don't know the answer to because I'm not out there selling. Yeah, so just keep an eye on that. I know you can link the Square to your unit account. And one thing I will pass on, it's up to you guys, doesn't make any difference to me. We have a lot of units that got the Square for popcorn and are in love with it because when they have fees to pay, when they buy t-shirts, when they go camping, when they go to the zoo, the parents can just swipe their card right at the meeting to pay for it.
Yeah, it's not going to be solely for popcorn use. I mean, you can use it for whatever you need at that point. So we'll move on to the next slides here. We got a few more slides left, so we want to keep plugging away on these. I don't want to take up too much of your guys' evening here. So why sell popcorn? You can read through these if you want to. I'm not going to touch them all, but the main one is it helps fund your program for the year. If you're looking for a WOW program for your scouts, which I hope everybody is looking for that, this is one way that'll get you there, or at least get you well on your way there to giving that WOW program to your scouts, which is what all scouts truly should have. So we all know we've been throwing some recent curveballs. So why sell popcorn? Because a scout is thrifty. We all know that. We all know that the national fees are going up this year. You can utilize this to help pay for that, to help offset some of that cost to some of the parents. Scouting from last year to this year, scouting is on its way back. We truly want to give a WOW experience for scouting. So this is one way to get us there. A lot of you didn't spend a whole lot towards the end of 2020 and beginning of 2021. This will get you a good jump start for 2021 and into 2022, which is really what we're selling popcorn for now. Is going to be we're funding the scouting of late 2021 and 2022. So we all know we had a lot of barriers with COVID last year. Those things are starting to get lifted. I know there's a lot of things going around in government recommendations, stuff like that. Make sure you keep an eye on those items. We don't want to put anybody in harm's way, but we are kind of leaving that up to the units to decide if there is government recommendations for your town or for whatever, a certain business or something. Please abide by those recommendations. The Sioux Council is not in the business of public health. They take the recommendations just like everybody else does. So keep your ear to the ground for those and utilize those recommendations as you see fit.
Can I stop you for 1 second before we get any further? We had a lot of chatter back in the box here about the Square readers, and I just want people to know that it's there, and I'm going to paraphrase it. Lindsay with pack 293, it does mean a bit of personal tracking if you have a Square that isn't attached to a pack account, but her 2 kids sold over 1,000 just in credit cards, so it was totally worth the tracking, she said. I'm kind of beating a dead horse with this, but credit card sales are huge. Troop 216 said each person create a Square account. When they pick up their initial popcorn, they link the Squares to the account. So that was linked into the pack. And if each person picks up a Square reader, then they just, the Square reader itself is just a piece of plastic. It's just a tool. The information is how you link it online. So
I will tell you that one more thing. We had a mom that had the Square reader, but she didn't want to plug it into her phone, so she just hand punched the number in. It actually charges you different when you hand punch that number in. So if you have the Square reader, I recommend using it. You get charged less fees by utilizing the Square reader. So a lot of us have sold popcorn before, but for those of us that haven't, there's 4 main ways to sell popcorn with Pecatonica River, just as with most of the other vendors we've gone with in the past. What we'll refer to as show and sell is going to be when you make a display outside of a high traffic area, outside grocery stores, outside of places of business or things like that. You set up a table, you make a nice display, you have your stock right there, people come out of the grocery store or whatever, you sell them the popcorn, you hand it to them, end of transaction, and you move on to the next customer. Those are, you're going to want to go there with stock. Some units will make a package of a show and sell package that they send with people, so that way have consistent inventory that goes there. When they get it back, they take inventory, figure out what was sold there, match up with the money, so on and so forth. Wagon sales are going to be similar to like a show and sell, but you're just going to go around your neighborhood, go door to door. You're going to take the order, but you have an amount of product with you, and you can sell it and give them the product right then and there. I don't know how many times my kids would go up to the door and they order something and they say, "Oh, you have it right here with you." Yep, we're good to go. And end of transaction. You don't have to circle back to deliver things. When I was a scout many years ago, I remember going door to door, taking an order, and then having to go back 2 weeks later, trying to remember where they were. They weren't home, or trying to get them their popcorn, and they weren't home for 2 straight, and so on. And this definitely takes a lot of that hassle out of it. If you choose to do it, you can do it that old-fashioned take order way. Take an order form. I kind of recommend this for your families, for the aunts, the uncles, the grandmas and the grandpas, the moms and dads, all that stuff. Use a take order method for that. One thing, we did have a couple people, they took a bunch of take order to moms and dads and aunts and uncles and everything, and they gave them their product right away, and then it came towards the end of the selling season, and then they found themselves short on a couple of those items. Something to kind of keep in mind, if grandparents or anything like my parents to my kids, they don't care if they get it today or tomorrow or next week or next month or sometimes even next year. They're just looking to help support their grandkid or their nephew or their niece or whoever it is. Use those take orders wisely, especially with family members. Maybe do a take order for them as you start nearing the end of the season, and you can start funneling some of that stuff out of your inventory. That way you're not stuck with going to a show and sell with only one item, and then you sell out of it right away and then you're stuck without it. So just a recommendation for you. If you like online sales, it's becoming more and more popular. Online sales, they do get credit. You can go to that prpopcornstore.com, and the scouts will get credit for what they sell. They have an ID that will be emailed to the scout with a script that they can record a message and send out to their address book or mom and dad's address book. Just make sure that they enter that ID when they go to purchase the popcorn. That way their scout that they're trying to support gets the credit for it. One thing that we need to make sure that we do as colonels and chairs of the popcorn is we have these different ways of selling, but it doesn't do us any good if we don't explain the different ways and how to do it. It's always good to kind of do some role-playing activities with the scouts, get them to practice what they're going to say. Make sure it's more than just a, "Hey, we're selling popcorn, you want to buy some?" Make sure you include information such as what are they going to do with the money that they're raising. Make sure they understand it's a fundraiser. Make sure that they say who they are. First name only is fine. Make sure that they say that if they're from around the area, make sure they say, "Hey, I'm from right here in town," especially if you're in a small town. People love hearing that somebody from their town is out and about and they're supporting somebody from their town. Make sure that we wear uniforms. Make sure the uniforms are tucked in. Be polite. Make sure you say thank yous, pleases, all that good stuff. One thing that I like to encourage with my scouts that I talk to about this stuff is use the sidewalks, use driveways, try not to cut across grass. A lot of people take their yard. They may not notice it that you're doing it, but they probably will notice it if you don't and you start cutting through yards. Just be respectful to everybody. Make sure you're utilizing the sidewalks and things like that. So make sure that you're telling them how great the popcorn is. Tell them have your scouts practice what's your favorite popcorn? What's your favorite on this list of stuff? Even if it's pretzels, that's fine. Always push more. You never give up. We've made a lot of headway last year, and I got a feeling we're going to do a lot better this year. Holding the popcorn kickoff. One thing that we found is that if you hold a popcorn kickoff with your unit, it's something that is a great way to get everything started. Try and make it a separate event. We will be having a how to kick off your popcorn season on September 2nd. We'll maybe have you put a link in the chat box there too for this one. The popcorn kickoff. We're going to go through how to hold a popcorn kickoff. That's going to be hosted by Dan, our council popcorn chair, as well as how to submit your first order. So go ahead and come on in. You can listen to how to host a successful popcorn kickoff event, as well as how you're going to submit our first order. That's on September 2nd. That is on the front edge of when a lot of these things are going to be happening. We tried this last year. It worked out really good. Holding training seminars leading up to when you're going to utilize them, instead of having you drink from a water hose at the beginning of the season and you're not hear from us for the rest of the season. So we're going to do something very similar again. We had about 2 or 3 training sessions we're trying to plan out here. So make sure you keep your eyes on your email. We'll be sending this stuff out to all the colonels, and just to let them know that, hey, more training's coming. Feel free to chime in. And if you got any questions on the specific training, or if you have questions in general, maybe somebody else has a similar question as well. Blitzing a community. This is kind of going out and getting out in the community, selling kind of some door-to-door stuff. Make sure that we're going using the buddy system when we do this. Make sure we have adults with us. Highlight street maps. In our small town up here, we actually canvass the entire town. We just have to assign different portions of town to everybody, just because we have enough scouts in a small enough area. So we actually assign different neighborhoods and kind of let everybody keep in their own neighborhood and make sure they've taken the product with them. If you have the product available to you, make sure you take it with them. One-stop shop. If there is a missed house, I showed you the missed house tracking form that you can use. And have everybody get together and do it all at the same time. Go out, canvass the whole community for a couple hours, and then meet up afterwards and throw a pizza party afterwards as a big thank you to everybody for showing up. So it's some different ideas on how you can go through a community. Assign it to scouts, or let scouts take part in it on their own time, or all together. Either way works. The all together is a good idea just to keep things moving along through the season. There is, we talked about scout sales. Online, the prpopcornstore.com is a way that you can get, we call it light lifting sales. We don't have to touch this product. It goes straight to the customers. We don't have to get, we don't have to put our hands on it. We don't have to deliver anywhere. So it's a very good way for us to fundraise by utilizing their e-commerce site. So prpopcornstore.com is a way to do that. If you go to PR Popcorn, this is where we're getting into the tracker and stuff. Last year, there was a Colonel Tracker app that they had. They do not have the app this year, but basically all they did is they tied it into the website. So it's not an app anymore. It's just the prpopcorn.com. It's the Colonel Tracker portion of the website. So it has everything there. Same thing as last year. You still have the in stock. You still have your distributed stock. You can set up profiles and all that stuff there. If you have not already, we'll need to go to the prpopcorn.com website. If you had an account last year, Pecatonica River actually wiped all the accounts out. Just need to recreate it again. You can use the same username if you want to, but if you try and enter the same exact password as last year, it's going to say it's not going to work. So you just have to re-sign up for your password and your user account. Go through a few questions. It does pull in a lot of the information from previous years. You don't have to go through everything all over again. But if it recognizes your information, it'll populate a lot of that stuff for you. This is where you're going to go for your orders when you need to submit your order for your the show and sell stuff. So utilize that prpopcorn.com website. I actually have a quick link to it, so that way I can get in and out of it rather easily throughout the season. I go into it quite frequently. Just to check out how things are going with the unit and stuff like that. So prpopcorn.com. This important dates, if you guys want to, feel free to snap a picture of this slide. This is the information that was on that pocket card. September 7th is the wagon sales pre-order. So we're just under a month away from wagon sales pre-orders due. September 2nd, remember, is when we're going to do the training on how to set that order. So if you're unfamiliar with it, how to do that first order, please chime in on that September 2nd training. That is going to be where you want to go to learn how to do all of that stuff. It's a very simple process once you understand how to do it. Popcorn pickup is going to be that September 23rd. September 24th is when the popcorn sales begin. Keep in mind the September 23rd date could fluctuate, maybe a day. depending on what area you're picking it up from, but it should be right around that September 23rd. And everybody will have it by the time those popcorn sales begin on the 24th. And I think I actually should say the 24th through the 26th is the Blitz weekend of September. So that's your first weekend. Set up something with your units, get out, sell that very first weekend, get the year off to a good start by getting everybody out, getting everybody selling. And usually what will happen is they'll get out, they'll realize how easy it actually is, and it'll make the rest of the season a lot easier. Instead of such a big uphill climb, you'll knock a lot of it out that first weekend. And then it's a lot easier to convince scouts to go out and just sell a couple $100 more worth of popcorn than, well, we still got to get, $600. And so I recommend setting up a Blitz weekend, making an event for your scouts, get them all to participate in it, go out and set up tables at stores, make sure you're getting permission, set up tables. One thing I do want to mention for those that are in around larger towns like the Sioux Falls area, things like that, make sure we're courteous with each other. We're all in here for the same goal. There's a few stores that are kind of hotbeds for the Sioux Falls area. You got the Walmarts, you've got other stores like that. We've had people in the past, they've gone to go stop at some of these storefronts, expecting to be able to set up their table, and it's already filled with people. And we just need to make sure we're courteous with each other. We're all in there for the same goal. We're raising money, yes, for our unit, but we're also raising money for the scouting program in general. So be mindful of that. Be respectful of that. Make sure you're reserving these places. I'm only one person. I can't manage every storefront in the Sioux Falls area, so I'm asking the colonels of this area to do that amongst yourselves instead of having me do it. October 20th, as we mentioned before, is the end of the unit transfers. The 21st is actually when the sales end. Finals are all due on the 25th, and that's when your return reports are due for the outlying cities and stuff, so that way we can know what's coming back in. It is very important that your return reports are very accurate. What will happen is Linda sits down and she goes through the return reports, tabulates what is going to be returned to a specific place, figures out what needs to be sent to a specific place to fill out any orders, and she utilizes those return reports to redistribute. If your return report is off, the redistribution of that product is going to be off as well, in turn causes somebody to not have something come back to them. So please make sure you take the extra time to make sure your return report is very accurate when you let Linda know. Your unit master record, prize summary due, gift card prizes will be ordered by the Sioux Council on that October 25th time frame. Linda is one person. She does take some time to get those orders in. Please do not reach out to us on the 26th of October asking where your gift card is or where your gift cards are. They're coming. It takes some time to get through. November 12th is the final popcorn pickup. I want to explain these different dates here. December 3rd is your final popcorn payment due. All current registered scouts, final orders are due October 25th. If you have new scouts, or if we have a new unit that recruits or whatever in this time frame as sales is starting up, we allow those units or those scouts to sell till that November 12th mark. So we want to make sure that we have all of our sales wrapped up as existing scouters by the 25th of October. Okay. The final, the return and all that stuff and the redistribution is all for items that were sold during that 25th, but you didn't have the product on hand, so you still need to get it back to your customer. That's what that is for. Okay, so we're not selling through the 12th, only the new scouts that are going to be recruited into scouting in the coming months are going to be able to sell that additional time. The date we are all looking at is October 25th. Final orders are due.
And just a heads up on the units and new scouts, that's kind of a one-off deal. Talk to your DE about that. You know, if you're just recruiting your normal scouts throughout the year, that's one thing. But we have a lot of units that end up starting mid-October, late November. And what we'll do is we'll try and set up a special sale with them with some of the product that comes back in. So if, stick to these dates. If something drastically changes, talk to your DE. The key here, Brent, I would say, is communication, don't you think?
100%.
And then we did have, Lindsay had a good question. Pickup day fluctuates. I mean, it could be later or earlier. It's gonna be that day, fingers crossed, barring a snowstorm, which we've had, barring power going out because of rainstorms, barring trucking issues. What we're saying there is we plan and have every intent of it being this day, but we don't control the world. So just know that our very best intent is to stick to that date.
We also had another question from Desiree. We originally said we didn't want to do wagon sales. Are we able to change our minds?
Yes. Desiree, what district are you in?
She's in Arrowhead.
Well, you know what? I bet Angie could make that happen for you. Angie, could you tell your little story about the unit that switched to wagon sales last year?
So we have a unit that had not, the whole town, no one had done wagon sales before, but last year they changed and they decided to do wagon sales, and they sold above and beyond what they've ever sold, at least in the time that I've been here. They did, I think it was $45,000 worth of popcorn, just because they chose to do wagon sales. It was pretty amazing.
$43,000 for one unit in a small town in central South Dakota. This wasn't Sioux Falls, this wasn't Pierre, this wasn't Yankton, this was a small town. So we really congratulate them. That's awesome. And the other thing to bring up, just in case everybody doesn't see the chat boxes, Adam brought in that it's pretty easy to call the store and set up storefronts. And he brought up the fact that his scouts didn't earn as much at storefronts as they do door-to-door sales. And then Lindsay jumped on and said they had a totally different experience. Their kids kill it at storefronts. You know what? The majority of the Sioux Council sales are door-to-door. That being said, there are certain storefronts in the Sioux Council that are lights out. So, you know your communities. You know your communities. My big advice there would be never give up on the door-to-door. You can't beat the little Cub Scout in a blue shirt pulling his or her wagon, but there's also a lot of value to the storefronts.
There is a reason why these vendors are offering all these different options, is because this is not a one size fits all. They've had success in all four of these different facets of selling: the show and sell, the wagon sales, the taking orders, the online sales, all of that. That's why these vendors are offering all of these different options, is because there is no one particular answer on the best combination of this. One unit on this side of town might have better odds than that side of town. So we recommend to use all of these different selling tools to your advantage. Try some door-to-door, try some show and sell, try some take orders, do some online sales. Utilize all these different avenues, and that's where we really find that a lot of these units have the most success, when they utilize all these different avenues.
I did want to share a story that we heard several times last year when COVID was at its peak and everybody was scared to go door to door. We got a lot, and I mean a lot, of positive feedback on the way our scouts were representing themselves during this sale. They would go to the door, they would knock, they would step back, they would give the people room. They had their masks on as the different communities recommended or didn't. We also got a lot of feedback from elderly people saying, thank goodness something's normal in this world. We're so glad the scouts are still around, doing their normal things, being responsible. And a lot of, especially the elderly people, said, thank goodness somebody came to my door. It's the only people I've been able to talk to in person. So some good things did come of 2020 as well. We're sure proud of the effort that all the scouts put in.
Well, we only got a couple slides here left, so we'll go ahead and wrap these up. One thing I did want to make sure that we mention, again, is that the quality unit popcorn kickoff, how to have a quality kickoff and placing your first order. We're going to do training on that for the September 2nd. It's going to go from about 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through how to have a popcorn kickoff with your unit, and then we're going to roll right into the placing your first order. Give or take, they're going to be a half hour each or so, but recommend you just stop in at 7 o'clock and chime in. There's a link right here. If you want to copy it down or whatever, but I believe we're going to be sending out some stuff, and there's going to be a link put on that popcorn page of the SiouxCouncil.org site. So make sure you're going there and getting some more information.
Yeah, actually on the banner on the homepage already.
Perfect. So to wrap everything up, we want to make sure that we keep in mind to sell or keep your email. Check your emails often. We do send out a lot of emails regarding different sales stuff. I usually like to put popcorn in the header so that way you know that it's not spam or something like that. But there will be emails forthcoming on upcoming trainings. We already talked about one there. There's going to be some more stuff. We like to send them out as the steps kind of come up, so that way you're not learning how to do something on the tail end before you even start selling anything. We try and time them out a little bit without cluttering up the actual selling season too much itself. If you're in the Red Rock district, so if you're in my district, I will be reaching out. We do have our own way of distributing popcorn, so we'll have to have some signups for that. I used Sign Up Genius last year. I'll probably do that again this year. So if you're in the Sioux Falls area, particularly of the Red Rock district, then we utilize that. So keep in mind to keep checking your emails very often for popcorn updates. Reminder that we're selling for the 2022 season. Don't know what's coming up, but we can try and make plans for it. So let's make this thing happen. Let's do our best. Let's get out there. We'll sell, stay positive. We did it last year. We can do it again this year. Hopefully we have even more luck this year. Again, we did a fantastic job last year. Just keep at it. We're off to a great start with having a lot of people chime into these meetings. Some really good questions tonight. Will, is there anything else that you want to chime in on to wrap everything up here?
I don't have anything. Angie, do you?
I just wanted to thank everyone for coming. Last year was amazing. We had a lot of really big obstacles to deal with as far as COVID and learning a new popcorn company, but every single unit did the best they could and just did a wonderful job. So I wanted to thank everyone for that, and thanks for being on tonight.
Yep. So where do we go from here? Last slide. Where do we go from here? Log on to prpopcorn.com site. They're going to ask you for your council key. The council key for us is 733 S as in Sam, C as in Charlie, or SC as in Sioux Council. Log in, create your account. That's what Linda will utilize to deposit the product into there and all that stuff. The recommended orders are going to be coming in the coming weeks before we get around, before we come around to the selling time. So build some excitement within your unit, get creative, some good ideas, share the ideas with your surrounding units. If we win, everybody wins. Mark your calendars for that September 2nd. Chime in with some kickoff, how to get a good popcorn kickoff for your unit. We'll also talk about how to place that first order, and then watch for more training coming in your emails. As I mentioned at the very first slide, these are the links that were on that first slide. You have Pecatonica River, popcorn.com/tutorials. This will actually get you some videos on how to utilize our website. I'll click on this one real quick so that way you can see. Kernel Tracker tutorials, my PR popcorn. If you want to go in there, you can check that out. There's about a dozen videos on here on different things, how to utilize them, stuff like that. Very good information.
Brent,
when you go on, you're going to log into my account.
Seeing your correct screen, Brent.
What was that?
You might not be seeing your correct screen.
Oh, let me switch it over. Hang on.
We had a question earlier about the PR webpage and things like that, and I think that's probably what Brent's covering now.
Yep, that's where I'm going right now. So prpopcorn.com is also the same as PecatonicariverPopcorn.com. You can go either place, it'll take you to the same one. When you go to prpopcorn.com, you can see my website now, correct?
Yes.
So it's going to take you to a screen looks like this. You're going to click on My Account. When you get to My Account, you're going to go to Create a Unit Profile. If you haven't set up your unit profile yet, go to Create Unit Profile. This is the council key that we were talking about, 733 SC as in Sioux Council. fill out your district information. Red Rock would be the one I would click on. You're going to fill out your unit type if it's a pack or a troop. Most of those are going to fall into those two categories. Your unit number will go in there. Select a unit username you want to use, select a password, fill out your information here, and you're going to click next. All these fields are required, so make sure you fill in all of them. Click next, and then it'll start populating the information for you. I believe you have to make one selection on the next screen, but I've already got my account set up here, so I have to. And I just set up the other day, and I don't recall what I use as my username, so I'll have to log in.
And the tutorial on the PR webpage is very good. This is
Yes.
it's a very simple system. We appreciate that, what Pecatonic offered us.
I'm going to share my other screen here because this actually gets, are you able to see where I have my username of Porter B84 on there?
Yep.
Okay. So that's my sign in. I already created my account. It's going to take you to all this information here, which is from my unit that I followed previously. So this is kind of where you're going to have all your new orders. We'll talk about this when we get to that September 2nd time frame. Is all going to be through here. You can pull reports. You can pull scouts' names, all that stuff. So all that information is in there when we want to use it. But that's what it's going to take you to. So is there any other questions? I am through all of my slides. The training is basically complete. If you have any other questions, feel free to hang out and we can I can answer them. I do have some time here before I got to log off myself and start getting kids to bed and stuff like that. But I want to thank you to everybody for coming out and jumping on the training today. Hopefully it was informational. If you do have any questions, feel free to hang out for a couple minutes. Otherwise, reach out to your district colonel, reach out to your DE. We'll get you taken care of. Chime in on the trainings coming up. And I hope everybody has a good selling season this year.
Brent,
and hopefully we can get things back to normal.
On the commission, if you jump back to that slide, please.
What was that?
Jump back to the commission slide, please.
Oh, yep.
Yep, Lindsay, it is 30%. We'll pull it up again for you.
Yes, it does add up to 30% if you get all of the bonus.
And that's on the back of your pocket card too. I live and die by that pocket card. I'm with Brett. I keep a picture of it on my phone. The Joseph or Pat Troop 216, excuse me. PR Popcorn will get all that information from us. We will update that. The good news is you should kind of know where you're at.
Yes.
Well, Jane Aarons with Pack 320. It wasn't supposed to work from last year, but I'm glad it did. And guys, Pecatonic is really good, but we're still learning too. So we appreciate your patience on that. This is our second year and what we like to call our first somewhat normal year.
And if you guys do run into any questions on that Pecatonica website, feel free to reach out to your popcorn chair for your district or to your DE, and we can get questions answered. Will, I think, has Pecatonica River on speed dial 1 on his phone. So
I'm not sure I'm their favorite, but they do answer my questions.
But I will vouch that with all the questions that we have presented, that I've presented to Will, and Will has presented to Pecatonica River, I would say a vast majority of them get answered within a matter of minutes to an hour. And we're back up and running to where we need to be. So they are very good with their customer service.
For attendance tonight, nope, you did not need to put that in there. We will pull all that from your registration. And if there's any questions down the road, if for some reason Zoom didn't record it correctly, we will we'll work with you down the road. So if for some reason there's a typo and you're like, oh, I was on the popcorn thing, talk to us. We'll get you taken care of. Like I said, and Brent said, we're all in this together. Tom, I like it on Zoom too. It's just so much easier to keep track of everything. Well, Mr. Porter, you must have stunned them. I'm not seeing anything.
Well, I'll hang out here for an extra couple minutes in case there are some questions, but yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Appreciate it. We will talk to you guys all later.
Well, Brent, we either informed them very well or confused them to the point of speech.
Could be either or. Thanks a lot, Will, for your help. And Angie, thank you for your help watching the chat box. It definitely helps out when I got a second set of eyes watching that. And I'm not trying to watch slides and that at the same time. So I appreciate all your guys' help on those.
Thanks, Brent. You did a good job.
Thanks.
Zoom Berry stuff so bad too. You move it and you can't find it.
Yeah. Kind of like how I thought I was sharing my screen, but I was actually sharing the window. So I had to change windows. Yeah.
I haven't completely figured out the screen sharing yet either.
Yeah.
We do have at least one new unit down here in Jefferson, South Dakota that used to be with, I think they were with Camp Master and then Trails End. So I'm really looking forward to them seeing what we can offer with Pecatonica.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty excited to embark on the second year of Pecatonica. I think it's going to be good for everybody.
Will,
It helps that we kind of have our base set up with them already, and we can build on that. So
You bet.
I just had Kirsten ask me a question, and I just wanted to double check with you. She's the colonel for the Troop 8B and Troop 8G. Last year, she created one account for both units. She wanted to know if she needed to make a separate account for each unit. I recall there being some issues after talking to Dan, but I just wanted to make sure that I'm going to give her the right answer.
I would have her make both just based on how the system works. Wouldn't you, Brent?
I was going to say that same thing. I think it's going to be best and less confusing in the long run to have two separate.
Okay, good. I answered right.
Especially when it comes to the ordering and the transferring and all that stuff. I think it's going to be probably going to be a nightmare if they have one that they're trying to shuffle things around. And so, yeah, I'd say both. Create one for both.
Awesome.
I can chime in on that one. I run the Troop and Pack in Viborg. And
Okay.
I just run everything through the Pack, but I had to set up a Troop one last year in order to do the online portion.
Okay.
But I just run all my popcorn through the Pack, and then at the end, I pay out of the Pack the Troops portion of the sales. Is how I've been doing it.
Okay. And you've had some luck doing it that way?
It's been easier tracking because I'm handling both of them anyway.
Oh, I got you.
And I don't have to deal with ordering two sets of popcorn or transferring popcorn back and forth between the unit. I just run it all through the one. So if that doesn't work going ahead, then of course we'll need to change something with the incentive thing. I don't know if that's going to work quite as well. That's a different.
Yeah, with the different units, your scouts are going to be populated under the different units. So if you have a Johnny and troop, what troop is it you're with? Is it 61?
I had to set up the troop in order to have that populate so that they could do their online portion.
Yep. So basically your scouts in the troop sell through the online portal, and then the Pack is what sells basically the other stuff.
Yep. But then I invite the troop to, they'll pull out of what I get for the Pack order to do their sales, to do their door-to-door or do their table sales. And I include the troop with doing those sales. Gotcha. I just don't transfer any physical product into the troop side.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, if you keep them separated in that aspect where you just do the online sales on the troop, then I could see how that would work. If you're trying to handle storefront and door-to-door stuff with troop and Pack or boy-girl troop or however you're doing it, I think getting the proper commissions to the proper scouts or whatever, if you're distributing them amongst your scouts and getting them credit for it for their gift cards and stuff, might become more of an issue. I don't know how I don't know the right word to say, but maybe more of a
consolidated everything into one master record.
Yeah.
So I've got everyone in the pack, everyone in the troop. It's in one master record that I submit.
And then you submit that to the council, and that's how you utilize it for your. Okay, I got you.
Yep.
Okay.
That's how I did last year, anyway.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
All right.
Anyone else have anything? I did have a question from Adam. How do we find out towns without units? Go to beascout.org. It's actually a membership tool we have, but all of our units have pins in there so you can look around. Small towns without units love popcorn sales.
They do.
Anything
All
else?
right. Well, I don't. Looks like there's still a few participants in here, but I haven't heard any questions come vocally, or I don't see any new ones coming in from the chat. So I will probably sign off. I'm going to go and see if I can get some kids to bed and get to bed myself. So.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a
Bye.
good
Thanks a lot again, everybody.